Hello AGI and welcome to your Unix video tutorial. So in this video I'll be discussing about the Unix command find. This command is used to search for files in a given directory, and it comes particularly useful if you have a directory which has, say, a large number of files and you would like to find a very narrow set of files within it, or a particular file. So you use this command to do that. So on the command line, I would type find followed by the path to the target directory where I'm looking for the file, and also with some expressions which makes my find easier. So let's look at some of the example cases. In my first case, I'm finding files using the name of the file. So in the blue box, I have listed some of the examples. So in the first example, I'm looking for a file named mycprogram.c, and on my command line I first type find followed by the target directory, which in this case is my current directory, which is represented by the symbol dot, followed by the option name, and followed by the name of the file. So it has given me two locations within my current directory where I find the file mycprogram.c, and I can do the same thing using a case ignore option, that is iname, and it has given me the locations of all the files ignoring the case. And I can do also the inverse, which is to look for all other files except for the file mycprogram.c. So for that I use the option minus naught. So in our next case, I would like to use find to search to a specific directory level using the options minimum depth and maximum depth. So by default, find will go to all its subdirectories within the specified target directory to look for the particular file. So in this case, I have a file named password. So when I specify the target directory as root, the root is in the hierarchy of directories is right at the top. So it will go through all the subdirectories under root and find the file password. So for to restrict to restrict the search, I would use maximum depth to which the find can look for the file. So in this case, I have specified maximum depth to be 2. So it will just go to two subdirectories within root to find for the file password. And also you can use the same with 3 directories or any number. And also you can provide the range, like you can say minimum depth to be 3 and maximum depth to be 5. So it will go to at least 3 directories and maximum to 5 directories to look for the file password. So in our next example case, I'll find files using the username. So in this case, I would like to find files under my directory test which belong to me. So I can specify the option minus user, which will find the files which belong to me. So it has listed all the files which has belonged to me under the folder test. Next, I would like to find files based upon their modification time. So in this example case, I'm using the options m minute and m time. So m minute will look for files that were modified n minutes ago, and m time would look for files that were modified in terms of days. Also, uh, we can perform any operations on the files that were found from the find command. So for that we used another Unix command called execute. So execute offers certain operations to the results that were got from find. It can do a remove, it can do move, or it can do a word count on the results. So we can look at some of the example cases in the next slide. So here I'm long listing the files which were edited within the last 1 hour. So for that, on a simple case, I would just do find using the m minute option and using 60, which represents 1 hour. So it will here just represent the name of the file but I would like to know more details on that so that I can know on what time it was modified. So for that I use the execute command, where the output from find is taken by the execute command, and it is then I use the ls minus l to get the full details for the files. I can also use find based upon the file type. I can look for files depending on what type of files they are. So the four different file types are directories. So I can use find minus type, and D represents for directories, then F represents for normal files, and for hidden files I use the option name, and all hidden files begin with a dot and followed by any character, which is this regular expression which deals with that. And then for socket files I use type S. I can also find files based upon the file permissions. So file in Unix, the file permissions are represented by a string of 10 characters. So for the first character, it represents the file type as discussed in the previous slide, and the next three character represents the permissions for the user category, and the next three represents for the group category, and the last three represents for others. So when I do ls minus l on the command line, as you can see in the first column, it represents the permissions. So based on that, how I can use find is I can say find with my target directory, then I use this perm option which says here the G represents for the group, and I'm looking for the files which have the permissions read for the group, and also I'm specifying the type of file, and finally I'm using this output and putting it to the execute command and doing a long listing of the results. So as you can see, there are two files out of the four above which have the permissions for the group as read. I can also use find to look for the biggest files within my directory and also the smallest files. So for that I use again the execute command. So I can do find, then the type of file, then I can pass this output to the execute command. So here the ls minus l will list the files according to their size, and I use the output from this and pipe it to another Unix command called sort, which will sort it according to the numeric order following, and the minus r here represents to sort it according to the descending order. And then I use the head command to just grab the first 5 big files, and I can do this similarly for the small files. The only difference here with the above command is that I'm not using the option minus r, but because sort by default it does the sorting in the ascending order. And I can also find files based upon their size. So there are, I can use the option minus size, and I can provide the size in terms of the megabytes. So I'm in the first command will look for files which are greater than 100 meg. The second one looks for files smaller than 100 megabytes, and if you want to have the exact size, you can just put the number that is 100 meg, and it will find the files for you. And finally, this is very important command which I have been using it regularly. This command is used to remove big archive files, and the way to do that is you just provide the type of the file you're looking for, the name, and here the expression asterisk followed by .zip means that I'm looking for all files with which end with an extension .zip, and I'm specifying the size to be 100 meg, and I'm passing the output from this to the execute command, which does the removal of such files. And here the minus I option indicates it will ask the user whether you want to delete it or not. So this is quite an useful command if you have large number of files and you want to delete them all at once. So I have been using it for a long time, and it should be very useful. So these were some of the examples for the Unix command find, and you can post some of your questions on the YouTube link, or email me at kapil@cals.arizona.edu. And also you can look for more options on the wiki link. You can just click on this link. And thank you, and see you in the next video tutorial.